Here's your 252 Fox Sports Radio Update. I'm Mark Panichelli. East Carolina football spring practice is underway, and head coach Blake Harrell is looking for players who are all in on winning a championship.
We got to be all in. I said, just being a hobby, just feeling good about it, just, out there hanging out with your friends or creating a TikTok video afterwards, that's all good. That's having a good time. But that ain't going to get you a championship. That's going to get you 7, 8 wins, maybe a bowl game, maybe a military bowl appearance again. We got to be committed, and you see it in the NCAA tournament right now. Teams that are committed are coming out of there with wins and all those things, and it's from the top bottom. Everybody that touches the program has to have that championship mindset of how can we take this thing to the next level? Are we satisfied with a military bowl win and 9 wins, or are we going to take this thing and try to go win a conference championship? And what can give us the best advantage to get there? And, the goal of the spring is just kind of make sure we get better every single day. I don't want to go out there and just check a box or just sit back and just say, hey, we just got to get through here and, create a hobby or create a TikTok video, so to speak. We want to go out there with urgency, intent, and purpose and attack that thing.
The Pirates will return to the field on September 5th when they visit the 18-time national champions, the Alabama Crimson Tide. With your 252 Fox Sports Radio Update, I'm Chloe Panichelli.
The drive starts right now.
Just living the dream.
Here's a guy who gets paid to talk.
1, 2, hold it back, 1, 2, 3.
Happy Wednesday. This is The Drive on 252 Fox Sports Radio, 107.5 FM, WWNB 1490 AM. Worldwide, you can listen to us anywhere in the world via the TuneIn Radio app, which is absolutely free. Just go to your app store, Google or Apple, and download TuneIn Radio. Once you've done so, find the search feature, type in WWNB, or if you're on a desktop, go to tunein.com. Same thing, search feature WWNB anywhere in the world. If you have an Alexa device, simply ask Alexa to play WWNB. Just that easy. Find 252 Fox Sports on YouTube, 252 Fox Sports on X/Twitter, 252 Fox Sports on Facebook. And you can find The Drive with Mark Panichelli on Facebook as well. I'm Mark Panichelli. Glad to have you on this Wednesday, right before the start of the opening of Major League Baseball, because tomorrow we won't be on the air because it'll be Nationals-Cubs, a 2:20 p.m. first pitch. Now, but you won't want to miss this. Don't go anywhere today. Our usual Wednesday guest, athletic director for the West Craven Eagles, David Fernandez, is going to join me. I am very excited to talk to him. And joining us today as well will be the new head football coach of the West Craven Eagles, Dom Guglielmo. I'm excited to talk to him as well and introduce him to you folks in Eastern North Carolina, ready for West Craven Eagles football. So Coach Fernandez and I will talk a little bit about the new hire and tonight's West Craven baseball game a little bit. Head on out there. I think Coach G, as we're going to probably a lot of us end up calling Guglielmo, but we'll talk a little bit about that, plus March Sadness. That's right, because that's what we're talking about these days is March Sadness. So let's do this. We're going to take a quick break, and on the other side of said break, we will be joined by Coach David Fernandez, and a little bit later, the new head football coach of the West Craven Eagles, Dom Guglielmo. This is The Drive on 252 Fox Sports Radio.
Our experience, dedication to excellence, and project site cooperation set Bryn Glass apart from other glazing contractors. In business since 1989, Bryn Glass strives to provide a professional and pleasurable experience throughout the construction process. We invite you to visit our commercial gallery for an overview of our completed projects. The homeowner is the sole focus of our residential division. Through extensive conversation and planning sessions, we come to understand the look and feel a homeowner's desires. Our mirrors are all cut to fit the area, and we offer several edgework custom options for you. Our shower enclosures are all custom designed and fabricated to fit each application. There are numerous glass and metal surrounds for the shower of your dreams. As a finishing touch, we offer a wide variety of bath accessories. Call 252-637-4996 for Bryn Glass, a proud supporter of West Craven Athletics.
This is The Drive on 252 Fox Sports Radio, 107.5 FM. Tomorrow, who's ready for some baseball? The Chicago Cubs and the Washington Nationals. We'll begin our coverage at 2 p.m. and first pitch set for 2:20 p.m. Your radio home for Nationals baseball is 252 Fox Sports Radio, 107.5 FM. And excited, and of course, as well tomorrow, Sweet 16 basketball. NCAA men's basketball tournament on 107.5 FM. So your radio home for sports, of course, right here, 252 Fox Sports Radio. I want to welcome West Craven Athletic Director, Coach David Fernandez, to the show. Coach, always good to talk to you. I hope you're doing awesome.
Yeah, doing well, Mark. Weather's starting to get a little bit better. Spring sports in full swing, so everything's good.
Good, man. I mean, look, it's, I'm with you. The roller coaster of weather at some point is going to get to where we just stop complaining about the cold, and then we'll start complaining about the heat. It'll happen at some point, and then we'll know we'll come full circle. But I'm with you. I love these nice days, and let's just cut to the chase. Coach, let's just go ahead because it's a busy day at West Craven today. We want people to go out to the baseball game where we've talked about how awesome the food is there, Coach, right? Well,
yeah.
Today will be a little extra special because someone's going to be throwing out the first pitch today. So not only do you get some West Craven baseball and the best eats anywhere in the ballpark or maybe anywhere, but nonetheless, going to introduce – or for some folks, they'll be introduced to the new head football coach, which was announced just a few days ago, Dom Guglielmo. So folks will get to see him throw out the first pitch. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, he's in town for a few days, just surveying the land, his new home now. So he met with the team a little bit earlier this morning, and he met with the coaches via Zoom the other night, and he'll meet with them in person while he's here. But just an overall good guy, man. We just really feel like we hit a home run hire with Dominic Guglielmo. He comes from Missouri. Originally, you want to date him back. He was actually born in Virginia, but he kind of grew up in New York, military family. So, that's kind of his background as a New Yorker. Played at SUNY Brockport in New York, college football. Deviled his hand around in some small college football in Pennsylvania to get his career started. Ended up out in Arizona, made his way back to Missouri for the last 4.5 years, coaching high school ball and doing it at a high level back there. It's a smaller school, but doing it at a high level. And, the paths just crossed. It basically, Mark, is what I told the football team guys this morning. He was there from day one. He was the very first interview we did in this coaching search. And after the dust settled and we interviewed candidates and we pursued candidates and we looked all around, just trying to find what was the best fit for West Craven High School. He ended up being right there at the end also. So we're thrilled to have him a part of our staff. And I think probably more so than anything, the testament from the community of Caruthersville, Missouri, where he was at, not only from school personnel, but players, parents, and not just players' parents, but just students' parents. What this man had done at Caruthersville High School, not just on the football field, but in the game of life for their students, not just football players, but for all students, just has us confident that we hit a home run in this hire. And, we're just thrilled. And he, with him being in town, he's going to throw out the first pitch at the baseball game tonight at 6:30. We are lucky we have baseball, softball, and soccer, all against North Lenore tonight. All Three Rivers conference games tonight in action, all at 6:30 here at West Craven High School. So it's an opportunity. It's the same ticket. You can walk around. Once you buy a ticket, you can walk around to all three events. You can see Coach Tom if you have that invested interest in the football, or you can just see our student athletes in action again. Baseball, softball, soccer, all at 6:30. Track is on the road down on the street at North Lenore tonight. So, what is that, about 30, 40, 55, add another 25, 60. So math's right. We got like 80 student athletes participating tonight in some form or capacity of West Craven Athletics. So if you're a community member, come out and support these young kids because, in the big picture here, they're representing all of us tonight. So
absolutely.
Just a full, like we talked about before we got on there, it's a full day, but man, how could it be any better? It's what we get to do, and the kids are involved, and we're representing the entire western side of Craven County. We're very proud of that. And, it's going to be a fun day at West Craven.
Yeah, looking forward to looking forward to talking to the new head coach and to kind of get his thoughts too about the selection process, because it was interesting you talked about that. I think that's the other part of this that for sports fans, I mean, again, we all see X's and O's and the scoreboard and all that, but that's such a smaller part of the bigger picture when it comes to the community involvement, especially specifically in school with the students. And so it's good to hear those recommendations from parents and students alike, like I said, because that's the real work, Coach, as you well know.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's what we talked about a few weeks ago, Mark, the kind of the process. I think what fans, what community people may not always see, or even we talked about this morning with the players, that maybe they don't even see, is all the work and the details that go into a hire like this. The community, the fan aspect, sees Friday night. They see football Friday night, 7 o'clock. Did we win? Did we lose? Did we win by enough, or did we lose by too much? But like what you just hit on, there's the teacher aspect. All of our coaches, for the most part, you're in a classroom for 3 class periods a day with students, not just student athletes, with students. And so that comes into play, what you can teach, how you teach it, all those little intangible things. I'll take a big part of the big picture. I'll make a part of the big picture in hires like this. And I just go back to say, I think I speak on behalf of Principal Montreal Lee, the same thing. We feel we're extremely blessed. We feel in this hire, we feel like we hit a home run with the right person at the right time to lead Eagle football going forward. So, just an exciting time.
Yeah, and to keep up the baseball thing, the only home runs today should only be hit by Eagles today.
There you go. We'll take that.
All right, man. Yeah, we're gonna postpone our top 5 Kansas players to next week.
Okay.
Because we were talking about doing that, and so I'm gonna push that to next week. And who knows? It could be a big week to talk Kansas basketball. I don't know. I know there's some rumors about their coaching situation, but I was telling you, I'm calling it March Sadness from now on. For me, for North Carolina, certainly got the early exit, and now their coach got the early exit. In fact, you look around, and it was again Bill Self is deciding, and it could be a medical issue or medical issues. We've talked about that for him. A lot of pressure for Pope at Kentucky. And then, of course, North Carolina already moved on as the news came out last night for Hubert Davis. So blue bloods in college basketball with March Sadness this week, as I said. And so your thoughts on that? And and again, let's start with Hubert Davis. What did you think about that? Any shock that he has been let go?
Coaching is a crazy business. And I think coaching in 2026 is even crazier because of social media. We just have the instant gratification. We want what we want, and we want it now. And it's not good enough. You can't argue with me enough to make me think it's good enough type of thing. I think that's where we're at with Carolina and Hubert Davis. It's hard for me to imagine that Hubert's not that bad of a job that you want to get rid of him. If you look over the big picture, his 5 years Carolina's still a top, 13, 14, 15 program by the numbers. And I know Carolina people say, well, that's not good enough. It is, but it maybe, isn't it? Like, not everybody's out there running around and winning national championships every single year. That's hard to do. It's hard to do back-to-backs, which is kind of what, to their credit, what UConn has done a few years ago, even more impressive. They were able to get a back-to-back title, and they're in the Sweet 16 this year. But, the man went 18-0 this year, beat Kansas, Kentucky, and Duke at home. So he beat some of the Blue Bloods this year and lost probably a top 3 NBA draft pick for the last 2-3 weeks of the season, who I don't know Carolina was a Final Four team or a national championship team this year, but they're certainly not, a first weekend exit with with Williams playing. So I just, you put a lot of stock into that, and it's kind of, I guess my initial reaction, you want to be where Carolina wants to be. Is your NLI roster $14 to $20 million? Because if it's not, it's probably, regardless of who's on that sideline, me or you included, you're not buying what it takes to be into the Sweet 16. For every practical word on the street is, it takes 14 to 15 to get a Sweet 16 roster. I don't know. That's, I can tell you, for being a Kansas fan that I am, I don't believe that's where the Kansas roster's at, NLI. I think it's closer to like the $8 million range. So I don't know exactly what Carolina's dealing with, but
the report I dug up yesterday was $14 million.
So they might be right in the ballpark to have it, but
right.
If you have a best player in the equation, are you in the Sweet 16?
They were 24-6. From what I was looking at the stats, when they thought he was coming back to play against Duke, and then they lose him for the year. And as I said, I go back to what you were saying earlier. I mean, his resume at any other school not named Carolina, and we're not even thinking about this, right?
No, I don't think so. But I also get the other side of the coin. It is Carolina. So it comes with the territory, the scrutiny. Somebody said that you could go to Getty Images, and there was a picture of Hubert Davis at his introductory press conference, and then there was a picture of him the other night after the VCU game, and it was kind of like a presidential picture, like the age on the man just from being in that fishbowl. But it's also exciting, when you're in that fishbowl of that, it's exciting too, I think you'd much rather be somewhere where there's expectation than not expectation. So, it all goes hand in hand, but it's crazy that the results, I don't like the word precedent. I don't think you have to do, something tomorrow, what you did today, but what's it mean for the next coach? Because what Hubert Davis did wasn't good enough, so for the next coach, understand these next 3 to 4 years, exactly what it is you're getting into and the expectation level you have to do it at. But it's also crazy to me, Mark, when we talk about it. They're saying for Carolina to get the kind of guy they want, they're going to have to be in that, $8-10 million a year range. And we've got fans walking around a water cooler that are ticked off that kids are getting NLI money. And we're saying a basketball coach is going to get $8 to $10 million. I think the whole thing just kind of seems out of whack. And the whole thing, too, seems out of whack. I'll throw this at you, Mark. Football didn't waste no time in hiring coaches despite a football playoff. So why do we say basketball coaches got to, Carolina might be open for the next 2 weeks because their next coach might be in the Final Four.
Yeah.
Why can't they go out and hire him today? Like, Lane Kiffin had to make a decision. Like, if you want the best, why don't you go, transfer portals about, going to open up the day after the national championship game, that kind of thing. Like, sometimes things don't make sense kind of in the big picture, but I'm a little disappointed as a basketball fan and as a coaching fan that Hubert Davis was let go. But at the same time, I think you understand the expectation level of where things are and where things should be. And, those high profile jobs like that. Again, I say it all the time. I will coach any NFL team tomorrow, any college football team tomorrow, and have no knowledge of how to do it. If you're going to give me that kind of contract and turn around and fire me in a year, I'll take it all day long.
Yeah.
So, it's hard to feel sorry for guys to a certain extent. But at the same time, it's just like, wow, where are we at in today's world? And are we there? Has it always been this way? I would probably say so. But is there more scrutiny on it today in 2020 because of social media and that atmosphere? I would probably say so too. Because I also go back to say, everybody thinks the world of Dean Smith, one of the greatest college basketball coaches of all time. He only won 2 in 30-some years.
Yeah.
I like to make jokes with my Carolina buddies all the time. Roy had 3, Dean had 2. That's 5. So the perfect bumper sticker would be Dean plus Roy equals K, because K had 5. So, in the Big Ten, I think that's the perfect bumper sticker. If somebody wants to steal it, makes a lot of money, I'm going to be mad. But I think that would have been
Duke
the perfect
fans are all
Duke,
over.
bumper sticker that, understand what you're talking about too. Like,
oh, yeah.
Bill Self's 20-some years at Kansas, he's got 2, but there's some Kansas fans ready to run him out of town, after a round of 2 loss the other night. So it goes with the territory of sports. It makes it fun. And those guys are well compensated. So I don't know if fair is the right word to use or not, but
yeah.
I also like to say from a fan's perspective, like this show is, me being on here with you, careful what you wish for, but know what you're going to get.
Right,
right. You let something good go, you better make sure you go out and get equally as good or better coming in, or you're really in a pickle. And I say, Mark, I might make some Carolina fans mad. Are you also kind of surprised right now in the state of Carolina athletics with the football situation and now the basketball situation? Let's just call a spade a spade. You're kind of a laughing stock right now. But so going forward, how do you get out of that fishbowl of being a laughing stock? I think that's the key question here. We've kind of made a mess of this whole thing at our level. Now, how do we get out of it? I'm not smart enough to know how to get out of it. But as a fan, you sit back and just be like, boys, how did you get yourself into this? But the interesting question, how are you going to get yourself out of it, type of thing. So,
because you hit the nail on the head. For me, it's, okay, you got rid of Hubert Davis. Now who are you going to get? And here's the thing. If you get that hire wrong, and first there's going to be scrutiny because it's not going to be a Dean Smith guy. It's not going to be one of these coaching tree guys. I think we've kind of figured out that, again, I think it's not going to be one of those guys. At least all the reports are it's not going to be. But if you get it wrong, and because, again, they have gotten it wrong. Remember the Matt Doherty hire where they, 8-20 or whatever it was, and then you set yourself back. Unlike then, you were still North Carolina, and the culture of college basketball was so much different then that you could go out and get, again, Roy Williams decided to take the job then. And then, but as I said, I don't know. And you're right about the other part of this. I don't know what North Carolina, where the baseball program, all of the other programs are kind of carrying them right now. Is the girls basketball still, the women's basketball still?
I believe they're still alive.
Still alive. Baseball team beat South Carolina last night. I think they're doing fairly well, top 15. But yeah, your basketball's the disappointment. You fired your coach. Football looks like a mess, and again, so it's right now.
And it's one of those
Carolina
things.
It's rough.
It's one of those things in sports too. I was around my buddies late last night in group text messages. Be careful what you wish for too. In the extent White didn't have the greatest season.
Yeah.
UNCG and Charlotte just hired 2. Jared Haas played at Kansas for Roy, but 2 Carolina connection guys there at their schools. There's still a lot of hot rumors that Will Wade may be going to LSU. And imagine that. Kim Mulkey, Will Wade back at LSU, and Lane Kiffin, all the same athletic department. Wow, you talk about that being crazy. That would be a 20 for 20 episode right there. But
how'd you like to be that athletic director?
But yeah, that would be some fun. And then you got, I tell my Duke buddy, if you don't think the Bulls are going to take a run at John Shire here, you're probably fooling yourself. I think it would be a mistake for him. But how ironic would that be? Because you hear Billy Donovan's name at Carolina already. Yeah. If Carolina slipped up and got Billy Donovan and Shire went to the Bulls and then left you open, it could happen. I don't foresee it happening, but it could happen. And then, like you said, there's some real. I would tend as a fan, it's going to crush me if it happens. I really think there's a lot to this rumor that Bill Self's going to retire because of his health.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find that out here in the next few days. Probably by next week's show, we're going to know something.
Yep.
So that could put Kansas open. And I grew up watching Jacques Vaughn. He's on staff. They brought him back for a reason. I just don't know if that's our Hubert Davis, though, too. And he's coming back from the NBAs don't seem to work. So it just kind of we'll see how that all pans out over the next week here with Bill Self. But Kansas could be open. Kentucky's not satisfied with Pope. And if it wasn't for his buyout, he probably wouldn't be getting one more year like it sounds like he's going to get. So a lot of turnover and a lot of tradition-rich basketball programs. But, it's kind of the sign of the times, too, I guess. You just kind of chase around, cycle guys. And like I said, what's good enough, what's not good enough. And I think that the interesting commentary here for a fan show like yours, Mark, is let's not fool ourselves either. College athletics at the Power 4 level is not about the academic side of things. No matter how much they want to sell that, how much they want to claim that, it's an athletic sports business, and that's the way they all operate. Your education may still mean something down the road at East Carolina. It really isn't there at, Indiana football that won a national championship, or Kansas basketball, or Carolina. Those kind of days are over. We're all being steered by money in the direction that it goes and how much more we can make. I'll throw one at you as a fan, Mark. To me, when you immediately didn't jump out and support Hubert Davis after the VCU win, was the tall tale sign that you were getting rid of him. But is he actually the scapegoat because as an administration, you're going to build this new arena? So you got a new coach with a new arena for a new era of Carolina basketball. Is that your administrative, financial, money thinking down the road direction you're going to go down? And so it all just kind of falls into place and goes with it. And in the end, I don't know that I say the fans get gypped off in the whole thing, but me personally, I'd hate to see the Smith Center go, but I think it's a foregone conclusion there too, that they're going in a different direction. And it all just kind of now seems like it's going to spin together and divert the big attention from everything that's about to happen. But that's just me, a fan sitting in Vanceboro thinking about things. But.
Yeah, I don't know, because I'm with you. I don't want them to see I don't want to see the Dean Smith Center go. I think you just renovate that and keep that history. But again, I also liked Carmichael. So when they played in that tiny little, and I understand why they needed a bigger gym. I think Hubert. Here's my thought, honestly, and I don't know. This is just my speculation, because I think there's the people who's the boosters and the people that put the money into the program. I think those are the people that influence these decisions way more than anybody. Like, hey, I'm kind of not feeling dumping a bunch of money into, and we were just doing the math. How much it cost to $14 million roster, $14 million coach, got to pay your assistants probably a ton of money. I mean, you're talking like 50 some million, right? I mean, in a budget, and that doesn't include facilities and equipment and uniforms and all that stuff, but just to kind of almost staff a basketball program at a major university is about $50 million. And look how different. You were talking about Power 4. Look around the Sweet 16. Your Cinderellas are Texas. Texas is not a Cinderella. Iowa is not a Cinderella. As much as they are lower seeds, the money that they get is, again, there's no I think the mid majors, or whatever we're calling them, they had a nice, some early wins, but now that the funnel's gotten as small as 16, we're already seeing exactly what you're talking about. The big budget that it takes to be successful at this level at college basketball. And I don't know that the smaller conferences have the kind of money to have these schools dump, as I said, $50 million, it seems, is what it takes if you want to compete in college basketball these days.
And I've said that from day one, Mark. When it comes to the college football playoff, when it comes to March Madness, the NCAA tournament, when it comes to the College World Series in June, I want to see the big boys. I want to see the big-time talent, the big-time coaches, the big-time logos on the uniforms. I want to see the big boys, not in the mid-majors. Not that there's anything wrong with that, because there's very good athletics at that level and below. But why, for the life of me as a fan, they can't understand, they can't compete at the big, the Power 4 level and form something of their own that they can compete in, that they can stay regionally and locally in, that they can't, why can't there be a secondary national championship? Why can't the power teams go have theirs? And then, there's some streaming service, some big box label television station, something that'll sponsor, another road for there's NCAA football. There's one. There's I don't know. They call themselves AA anymore, but there's one AA, Division II, Division III. Why can't they just go do that and make their own? I think I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't know what the money numbers are, but you would just think they could make it financially more competitive, more about the educational environment of school. We're a sports show and we're not getting out in the weeds here, but you can say something about the education level, across America today as opposed to 30 years ago too. Get back to those truer, convictions, those truer thought processes, and make some things happen. Because right now, is ECU ever going to be in a Final Four? I mean, I love going to ECU games. You know that. I've been piping them up, all fall in there, go down the street and watch. But are they ever really going to be in a Final Four? Especially with today's world of college athletics and how it goes. I'll go over there and support every day I can and spend $1 in their arena to help. But I don't have any realization thinking they're ever going to be in a Final Four. But if you had a secondary type of mid-major tournament, who says they couldn't make a run? Who says they couldn't do something? So
well, and
it's
look,
just interesting.
Yeah, and I just say, if you're, and I don't want anybody. Look, if you're getting your feelings hurt because you went to a smaller school, it's really about the money. Because here's what I'd say: if ECU were in the ACC, then they'd get more money, or if they were in the SEC, or what, insert your smaller school here. And I don't know how to make it fair if they do it. Like I've heard, these ideas, like, do you run it like the European clubs do, where you kind of have relegation? If teams aren't going to be competitive, then they go to the lower levels. And maybe if you see because here's the difference. I mean, look at the football playoffs last year. What was it? James Madison and Tulane that got into the college football playoff, and they got dump truck, boat raced in those games. And to me, it's not because they didn't try or didn't have good football teams. It's just, it's an apples to oranges comparison to the amount of money that the Power 4 schools can spend on sports like football or basketball. And that's why you're seeing it in the college football playoff and why you're seeing it in the NCAA men's basketball tournament, is because, as I said, I think there is a separation gap from the budgets. And that's really the difference. It's the money. It's not we love sports here at ECU. Well, but until your budgets can match what the bigger conference budgets are, it's hard to compete, because that's where the players are going.
It's also one of the things you say, do you get your feeling? You don't get your feelings hurt if you're competitive. And so, just be big picture. Can you compete for a Final Four at a smaller school? I'll argue with you, no. So if that hurts your feelings, that hurts your feelings. But if you had a secondary tournament, or if you had a tournament that your level was involved in, and now you're in to your championship type of game or series, or your Sweet 16, you got a lot of pride on your chest, and it's regardless of, well, hey, there was a Power 4 tournament, and that was their Final Four. You got a lot of pride that, you don't get, I think another one of your guests, Brian North, he don't bat an eye being a James Madison fan when they won a national championship, but that wasn't a college football national championship.
Right.
Or college football playoff national championship. That wasn't that level, but you got a lot of pride for what you did and win.
Yes.
And I guess that's kind of just as a fan, that's my kind of argument. We're telling you can't play with the big boys, but you don't have the checkbook to play with the big boys. So you got to take a step, and when you do that, you have a lot of pride in what you do when you are competitive. So
yeah, I was going to say the App State Mountaineer fans that used to win those national championships. Yep. Again, same thing. That they've now moved up, and as I said, I think it's going to be hard for them to ever compete again. They had that one. Sorry, I'm stealing the one shining moment. That's college basketball. They had that one awesome game at Michigan there in the Big House that they can definitely reflect on. But I don't see App State winning a national championship in football.
No, I think that's an excellent point. I hadn't thought of that one. That's they won that game. They won a couple, division, or what do you call it, 1AA national championships with top of the world. We're ready. Put us in the ACC or whatever. Well, they did take a step up and kind of been irrelevant ever since. So it just kind of, they don't have the financial backing to stay up in like a Power 4 type deal. So it just kind of, I think that's a good point. You were there, you wanted something a little bit more, and then all of a sudden you're falling off and you're not what you were at the level that you were right there, kind of dominating and being good at. So sometimes you just got to realize where you're at and strive to be the best at what you are, within your parameters. And, I just don't know college athletics is going that way. I think the Power Fours don't want to share their money with the non-Power Fours, and I think the SEC and the Big Ten especially don't want to share their money with anybody else. And it's kind of scary, though, too, because I just go back to say, did Hubert Davis really do that bad in the last 4 or 5 years here? I mean, I'd argue he didn't, but, money and power and the chase for, that elusive trophy, which he was only 3 points away a few years ago, having is just, it's the way it goes, these days. So
yeah,
interesting.
It is. And who knows next week what we may be. And as I said, we'll tease this again. Next week, we'll do our top 5 Kansas basketball players of all time. And again, I'm going with guys I saw, Coach, because you've got a long list of awesome players, but I've got to go with the guys that I actually saw. I will tease one of my players is going to be Danny Manning from Danny Manning and the Miracles there.
Definitely has to be. Well, I'll take it a step further. When I put my list together, I had to really trim down to 5, and I tried to think of positions a little bit because I think I got 3 in the same spot. But I used college time only.
Oh, okay.
And I think the NBA, some national or some world championships, that kind of thing, could kind of skew a couple guys.
Man.
But they didn't do that in Lawrence. They did that other places. So I kind of tried to keep it. I tried to keep my list specifically what you did at KU and not so much what you did once you left. And I think for me that narrowed a couple guys into my top 5. But I just throw that at you.
Yeah, I feel like you're attacking my list already because there's a guy on my list that's going to make that list. That's probably just because he might have worn a Celtic jersey. But anyways, let's not tease it too much. But I want to circle back around to remind everybody, baseball tonight. In fact, go out there because it's full on. You can experience a great afternoon, some good eats. As we talk about the concession stand at the baseball games is legendary. And you're going to get to see first pitch as the new head football coach of the West Craven Eagles will be there, Dom Guglielmo. So good stuff for folks. As I said, you were saying they can get a ticket and then roam around, right?
Get a ticket. It's the same ticket for all 3 events, $10. You only got to pay it once. And yeah, exactly. You can. Girls soccer, I'm just telling you, Mark, those girls are passionate and they play hard and they represent us the right way. Softball, Coach Sutton out there, she's doing everything at a high level. Shout out to our West Craven Eagle Booster Club. Just provided her some brand new batting cage and some hitting stations. So they're out there every day busting their butts, working out hard. And then baseball, no JV game tonight. They don't have JV, so it's varsity only tonight, and so a 6:30 start. But our baseball team, they're out there, they do their thing. Again, Coach McKeel, alumni, assistant coach, Coach Hackney, alumni. Michael Eastwood, his kids are invested in our school. He's an assistant football coach, assistant baseball coach. So just our coaches, our community, our school brand. It's going to be a fun night at West Craven High School just to see everything going on. And then top it off, our new football coach will be out roaming around too. So we're not Carolina, we're West Craven, but boy, we're proud of what we do over here on the western side of the county. And it's all on display tonight.
Absolutely. Coach, always good to talk to you. We'll talk to you next week.
All right, Mark, appreciate it.
I want to welcome the new head football coach of the West Craven Eagles, Dom Guglielmo. And Coach, first off, welcome to West Craven, and congratulations on the hire.
Thanks, man. I'm fired up. It's been an awesome experience so far, getting to know everybody, and truly blessed to be here, and can't wait to get rolling.
All right, I got to ask, and it may be the same answer. I don't know. So here's my question. What's the first thing that you picked up on in looking at the job or the area or whatever that made you perk up and go, interested? And then I guess the second part of that is, and it could be the same thing, what really closed the deal as I really want to be a part of this going forward?
Well, initially, so I'm in a weird situation. I say weird because generally when you're a head coach taking over a program, it's not the situation that I'm walking into.
Right.
Like, how blessed am I to walk into a program that's has a history of being really successful? And so usually you take over a program that's in shambles. So when I saw the post, I did a little bit of research, and I'm like, oh, okay, there's strong history here. I mean, that's a unicorn in the coaching business when you're looking. So that's when I was like, oh, you know what? I'll throw it in there. Why not? So I threw in the application, and I get a call from Mr. Fernandez, and he kind of screened me initially, and he just he raved about the community and support and the people involved. And so then I drove out here for an interview. And I talked to all these different people. And I mean, when you're traveling, you get to ask a bunch of questions because nobody knows who you are. And just hearing how much people care about the football team and care about the school and the kids and how much support the program has, like I said, it was a unicorn for me. So when they offered the job, I was like, yep, see you there.
Yeah, I got a little bit from Coach Fernandez, but give me so in your own words, and again condensed, or what's what you feel is pertinent. Give us a little, I guess, a brief synopsis, if you will, of your football journey, player to coach, as it is that up until this point that leads you to West Craven. Give us a little bit of what should we know about you on your as far as your football journey is concerned.
Well, I graduated college and I was an accountant for about 15 minutes. So I sat in that, and this is what I tell everybody. So I sat in my office and I look over at the girl that I worked with, and I was trying to strike up a conversation, and she was like, yeah. I was like, oh no, I can't do it. So I jumped into college football and went out and coached for who was my defense coordinator and offensive line coach and whoever. And he was at a college out in Minnesota. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to give this coaching thing a try. So I moved out to Minnesota, and then I got offered a GA job in Ohio. And then I was the head coach's first hire. We started a college football program in Pennsylvania from the ground up. So as I was there, COVID hit, and I was like, you know what? I want to get into high school football. I was like, there's nothing better than walking out there on Friday Night Lights. Got a high school assistant job, was there for a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to see if I can trick somebody into hiring me as a head coach. So I tricked Crowsville into hiring me, and I was 28. And I went in there and I thought I knew the world, and I didn't know as much as I thought I knew. And me and the kids and the staff rebuilt it back up, won a couple championships, and I had a great 4 years there, and I know that people from there are listening, so they taught me how to be a head coach, truly. And that's where I fell in love with high school football. And then how I ended up here is, quite honestly, I saw the post and did a little digging. I was like, you know what? I'm going to give it a shot. Why not? Throw my name in the hat. Then I went through the process, and I fell in love with West Craven. And once I interviewed here, I was like, I don't even want to apply anywhere else because that's the job I want. And I got it. And I was like, oh, perfect. It was a dream come true. And so it's our spring break week. So I drove down here to spend a couple days out here and meet the kids and meet the people. And Yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Wow. It's good stuff. All right. So my next question is, and I feel like I know the answer, but to dig a little deeper, the second part would be, okay, is as far as sports go, football the first love for you? I mean, is that the first love? And give me some of your influences from from a player or even a coach's standpoint, and that could be direct guys that you've worked with, or certainly from afar, as I said, some just influences as far as that goes. But start off first, is football the first love for you as a sport?
I think that's fair to say. Football was, so my dad was a really good wrestler, like world team level wrestler. And he loved baseball. And as a big kid who wasn't overly athletic, he always tried to make me play baseball. I hated it. Sorry, everybody. I say that, and I'm the assistant softball coach at my last school. But so I started playing football and I fell in love. And I think as I went through the journey, I worked for some great dudes. A lot of my programmatic stuff I stole from Justin Higgins, who's now the defense coordinator at Hobart, New York. Strength and conditioning stuff, Brian Fox, who's the head football coach out in Ohio. Those two, Scott Donaldson, really opened my eyes on how to run a program. So I know some guys are like, well, I like Nick Saban and I like whoever. My development came from I have never worked for a bad head coach. I really haven't. And I've I say it's stealing, but I've stole a lot of the stuff that we do from these guys and kind of morphed it in my own throughout the years. And I really look up to some of those guys throughout the process, and shoot, even off the field and how I talk to the media. Tom Davis from the Pemiscot Press in Missouri, he taught me how to even talk to the media, because before I was like, yeah, we're going to go play Tigers football, have a great night, and walk away. So don't worry, you'll hear, oh, we're just going to go play Eagles football, and I'm going to try to get away. But all those guys that I coached with in the past and coached for, they really molded me as a coach and taught me a ton of lessons. And still to this day, I call them like, hey, what do you think about this? And I think as a coach, no matter what level you are, no matter what position you hold, like being able to learn from those guys, from your mentors and the people that you're in the tree with forever is key. Like, I'm blessed to be in the coaching tree that I am, because those guys are phenomenal football coaches and great leaders and men, and they truly shaped me into being the head coach I am.
For people listening as well that may not know, I usually try to remind everybody at least once a show. You can check us out, 252 Fox Sports on YouTube, and you'll see I'm going to leave this shot up while I'm saying this, because I found this picture of you that the Wes Craven dugout. So the people that do the baseball Facebook page have morphed some Wes Craven gear onto you. I don't know if you've seen this Facebook post, but it's great. They've taken some older picture of you as a coach, but they put kind of AI'd some Wes Craven gear on you. So it looks nice until we get some actual Wes Craven gear and some pictures of it. It should be nice. But I'm only saying this to say, when I look at the picture and hearing you talk about it, it feels like you at least embrace a little bit of my football philosophy, which, again, I'm just some idiot talking on the radio. But I am a believer of dominate the line of scrimmage, because I would, if you asked me if I had average to below average skill players and a superior offensive line, I would probably take, and defensive line, I would probably take that over the superstar backs and receiver specialty players. And I've got some sort of mediocre or less than average offensive line that can't really dominate and move the ball. But again, I'm probably assuming too much here, but what do you think? Are you a line of scrimmage kind of guy? I mean, you got to have all of it to win, to be honest with you. But let me at least get that. Am I projecting too much? Am I assuming too much when I say you're a guy who believes in dominating the line of scrimmage?
I'm an offensive line coach by trade. It's what I do. So that's, and again, a lot of those mentors I listed are all offensive line guys. And you're right. I mean, you need everybody.
Yeah.
You need the superstar. You need that big old redneck offensive lineman. You need the kid who's not very good, but he's a great teammate. You need the student managers. You need everything to make a good football team.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like one of the first questions I asked Coach Fitch was like, how many offensive linemen are bringing back? Because that's going to see how comfortable I am going into camp in the summer. Offensive line is, there's been studies done on the effectiveness of a good offensive line versus everything else, and apparently it was done by an offensive line guy, but I not this one. Somebody way smarter than me probably, but no, that's going to be the focus of a lot of the offensive strategy. Naturally, is what can we get our offensive linemen to do, and how can we bring the best out of them? Because I mean, again, my unicorn job. I mean, we've got talent we've got a ton of talented kids, and a lot of returning up front. It makes me feel very comfortable going into camp. And but yeah, the offensive line to me it's of high importance. And I'll be honest, and I hope I get quoted. They're the most fun group to coach. I don't care what anybody says. Those quarterback guys, wide receiver guys, there's nothing better than being down there. The reason they call offensive line coaches a mushroom society is down there where it's dark and the grass sucks and all that, and just having a blast with those guys because they're fun, they work hard, and I'm telling you, it's a special group. But without them, you can't do anything.
No, I'm with you. And as far as groups go, I look at, as I say, I don't feel like I'm alienating people, but man, offensive line and your secondary, those are two groups that really need to work together. It's almost two teams within a team thing, and I'm excited about it. Let me ask you this. I know acclimating to the area is going to be the biggest thing. Acclimating to all the aside from the acclimation process, what do you think is going to be your biggest challenge going into this first season?
Honestly, I mean, that's a tough question because so far everybody's been so awesome in helping me get adjusted before I even get here. Finding me a place to live, introducing me to everybody. Shoot, I'm only out here 3 days. I'll probably shake a million hands, and I'm okay with it. The West Craven community so far has taken away a lot of my anxiety about starting. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Like I have family in New Bern, I have family in Greensboro. So adjusting to the area is going to be, I mean, I have familiarity with people here, which is nice. But the community so far, and Coach Fernandez, Mr. Lee, and all the coaches, and they've been nothing but just awesome. So the biggest thing for me is, I think the biggest learning curve is I'm a bad name learner. So all these kids introduced themselves to me today, and they're going to have to do it about 50 more times. And I don't like putting tape on the helmet because I think it's cheating. But learn everybody's name and who they are, and that's going to be that's my focus for the next couple of weeks, is learning who they are and what they are and what's important to them, because what's going to be important to the kids and the coaches is going to be important to me, and that's how you build a family and a program. And so that's going to be the biggest thing for me, is what I'm really focusing on now is meeting all the kids and taking care of all that kind of stuff.
I guess the other fun part too, and this is and by the way, a kid who grew up and went to West Craven, and with the name Panichelli, you can imagine a lot of Southerners have trouble with Panichelli, but your name, I would say, maybe even a little more challenging. It feels like a lot of people are already calling you Coach G. I don't know if that precedes your time here in West Craven, but I'm really looking forward to the attempts at pronouncing your name, because as a fellow Italian American, it's always fun to hear the different interpretations. So, do you prefer Coach G?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, with a difficult last name, you kind of get what you can get.
Right.
It took, like, I've had my names butchered in stadiums all over Missouri, so I just started putting Coach G on the form. Not that it bothers me by any means. It's just I'm like, oh Lord, you tried to. That's a different. I haven't heard that one yet. But no, I even introduced myself to the kids today as Coach G. I said my first name, and I got a couple sideways heads. And I was like, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about how to say it. You'll learn. I was like, just call me Coach G, and that's easier. It's easier for everybody. Because it is, Italians like their vowels, and it can get a little wordy. It's like my full name is Dominic Nicholas Guglielmo. So my mom did me a great favor with a very long name. So
yeah, they do that, and they like to call you by the whole name. Like you get the whole name. That's usually their whole thing. Because usually, it's because you're in trouble. But I think Italian, they just like to say the whole name. But no, it's good. I think it's exciting. And do you already have a favorite Southern food yet since you've been here? I mean, I know everybody always tries to push the barbecue on people, but anything Southern food wise that you're interested in getting to know better.
Thus far, so my cousin lives in Greensboro, and he goes, well, you have to eat cookout. Oh. And for about 25 minutes last night, he was like, you got to go to cookout. You got to go to cookout. You got to go to cookout. And my aunt was like, all right, no, we get it. But so while I'm here, I apparently have to try cookout.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm interested. You always get the best food recommendation for kids.
I think so too.
Like they'll always be like, you got to go here. You got to get this. You got to go here. You got to get this. So once they start getting to know me a little bit and aren't shy, because I know none of them are shy because they're kids. I'm interested to see where they're telling, because I like to eat. We haven't met yet, but I'm one of those big Italians. So right. I'll try whatever. But
I was a bigger Italian. I've lost a little weight now, but my appetite is still there. I mean, it's still ready to go at any time. So. Good stuff. No, look, I'm looking forward to meeting you too, Coach, and I'm going to let you get back to what's a busy day. And I want to remind folks that you can go watch Coach G throw out the first pitch at the West Craven baseball game tonight. Tickets are $10. You can roam around and check out all the stuff and, go up and challenge him to an arm wrestling thing. He's really into – no, I'm just joking. But, no, meet the coach today. It should be a lot of fun at West Craven. And, Coach, I look forward to meeting you myself and look forward to talking to you down the road.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I'm excited. To start meeting everybody, and go Eagles.
I want to thank, of course, David Fernandez, West Craven Athletic Director, for joining us as he usually does every Wednesday. It's great to catch up and talk a little March sadness with him. But I also want to thank the new head football coach of the West Craven Eagles, Don Guglielmo, Coach G, for joining us today. It was a lot of fun getting to know him for the first time. And again, do remind you, head on out to the West Craven baseball game if you'd like to maybe say hello, shake a hand, watch him throw out the first pitch. See if he can get it across the plate. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, Major League Baseball, but we'll be back Friday. Brian North will join us. Until then, have a great Wednesday, folks. And go Phillies! We'll see you tomorrow.
The Drive with Mark Panichelli is an exclusive, original presentation of the 252 Network.